Good evening and welcome to the NSR Sharpie 500 broadcasted here on Fireball Talks NASCAR. Practice has just wrapped up here for a 250 lap tilt at the Bristol Motor Speedway, and qualifying just about to get underway here. And we're looking at currently Tony Kurgel in the 13 rolling off track to start his qualifying lap. Long race in a pretty decently sized field today with I believe 16 cars showing up. But Kurgel starting his first lap, running a little bit towards the middle, and then that diamond in turns 1 and 2, coming into 3 and 4. Is he going to try to get a big run out of the corner? Looks like he's just content on sticking with what works. Currently a 14.978 for Kurgel. Keeping it very tidy throughout the corner steer, Kurgel is, and across the line a 14.899. Good enough for second, getting beaten out by Chris Chavez Essery in the 20 car. Dustin Cope having a little bit of an accident, but he's only done one lap, so he can do another one to try to get a time set in. Currently looking at Dylan Lansdell in the 24 car. Getting up to speed for him. Into 3 and 4, and Nick Gould has taken the pole position. See, a 14.911 for Dylan Lansdell comfortably puts him in 5th. Brian Wiggins getting up to speed in car number 15 for his qualifying run. We've known that Brian is very good at laying down qualifying, and we have a huge qualifying lap set by Adam DeFore, a 14.761 for pole. First lap for Wiggins, 14.924. For car number 15, can he improve on it? He has 14.761 to beat if he wants the pole position. Cross the line a little bit loose, 14.791 for Wiggins, good enough for second place. And that is everyone setting a qualifying lap, I'm pretty sure. And nobody on track at the moment, but I believe everyone has set their qualifying lap. A minute and 30 left in qualifying. I believe it should have transferred over by now. I think someone is not advancing the session. But no worries. This is a long race anyways. 250 laps here at Bristol. Nothing to sneeze at in terms of race length, as iRacing has certainly done a very good job at updating the track visually, because these track shots are absolutely gorgeous. You can see where the rubber has really laid in, both all the way near the wall and on the bottom, so should be a pretty slick surface with all that rubber laid down in the corners. You can see that's a great shot right there. All the rubber that's on the bottom and on the top, just forming on the top. So cars might be incentivized to run different lines, because that rubber will create a slicker racing surface. Just under 30 seconds left of qualifying. Still nobody doing any laps right now, as everyone has already set their qualifying laps. 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. Qualifying is all said and done, so we're going to get to a short little warm-up period for drivers to test and tune any final adjustments they think that they might need to be the key to speed in the race. So we'll have it on the we'll have our target on the what iRacing deems most exciting going on right now. This is a good time to mention our series sponsor, IRD Carburetors, out of Florida. IRD Carburetors, or IRD Racing, I should say, an industry leader in fuel injection technology, especially on the carburation side. Anything from drag racing, circle track racing, even sports car racing in the real world, IRD carburetors have been used to great success. They call them the king of carburetors for a reason, due to their proven track record. IRD carburetors, if you want to take your real world racing program into the next level, especially in the case of fuel injection technology, don't be afraid to visit IRD Racing. There's a reason why people call them the king of carburetors. Big thanks to them for sponsoring this broadcast. This would not be possible without them and their support. Overall, great group of people over at IRD Racing. Very glad to have them on board and supporting Fireball Talks NASCAR to allow us to broadcast this very fun series to you. I'll be right back in just 1 second. Whoa, Justin Ray getting a little sideways. We might see a little bit of that during the race, but I will be right back in just 1 second. Okay, I am back. Using warm-up time to good effect to get myself locked and loaded for this broadcast. Currently fastest in warm-ups right now, Nicholas Pressey with a 14.884. So the usual suspects up at the front of warm-ups. But we also see the 14 of Philip Chavez showing a lot of pace. He was the fastest in open practice. And now he's third on the board in warm-ups, as we saw a big mess forming on the front straight. So less than a minute left in warm-ups, and then we can get to your starting lineup and get this thing underway. But you know, 14 to 15 second lap times, you can see just how quickly these laps will tick by. But this race probably will take well over an hour. Probably about, I would wager, about an hour and a half with cautions included. to complete. So we will, and Bristol is known for really testing the limits of drivers, especially longer Bristol races. And I tell you what, doing 250 laps of anything is tough, especially when you're constantly on the brakes and getting back on the throttle multiple times per 15 seconds. But warm-up has concluded, so we can get to your starting lineup. So, starting on pole is car number 5, Adam DeFore. And on his outside, Brian Wiggins, and car 15 rounds out your front row. 2 very fast qualifying laps by the 5 and 15 respectively. In third place, in the inside of row number 2, is going to be Nick Gould in the 77. And on his outside is Chris Chavez Essery in car 20. In fifth, fastest in practice, was Philip Chavez. And on his outside, 2 in a row race winner Tony Kurgel in car number 13. Starting further back than he would like in 6th place, but we know that he normally has very fast race cars. In 7th, on the inside of row number 4, is going to be Dylan Lansdale. In the 24 car on his outside is going to be the 1 of Ray Partridge. Rounding out your top 10 is going to be Justin Cope and Nicholas Pressey, 9th and 10th in row number 5. First car outside the top 10 is going to be Mark Sakoshi in the 8 car. On the inside of row number 6 on his outside is going to be James Young in car 69. Jason Crumley rocking a new paint scheme in the inside of row number 7, car number 28, with Angel Rodriguez on his outside, rounding out row number 7, 13th and 14th respectively. Inside of row number 8 and rounding out your field, it's going to be Chris Norris in car 56 and Justin Ray, rounding out your field of 16 drivers here at Bristol. So we got 2 laps around the sun of pacing before we can go green flag racing. For 250 laps, my calculator telling me that this is actually, if this goes flag to flag, it will be just over an hour long. But with tire fall off and potential cautions, because at Bristol, it's very easy to spin or get into another driver with how close the racing is. I would not be surprised if that estimate gets stretched out longer. But waiting for the pace car to come in, it's up to Adam DeFore to lead this field of 16 to the green flag for 250 laps at Bristol. Pace car is in, green flag is out, and Adam DeFore with a good start. Nick Gould did not get up to the back end of that 5 car, leaves a wide open gap for Wiggins to drop to the bottom. You can see Essery moving ahead. Kurgel, the biggest mover right now, up 2 spots just from Nick Gould not going. That really held up the inside line quite a lot. Dylan Lansdale making a move to the outside of Philip Chavez, but nothing materializes right there. Kurgel looking to get that run off the high side around Nick Gould. I think Kurgel wants to get off that high side as quickly as possible, because this will most likely be a tire-saving affair here at Bristol. So Kurgel able to get around Nick Gould. You can see Ray Partridge looking to the outside of Lansdale. And same with Chavez looking to the outside of Nick Gould. So Nick Gould has done nothing but gone backwards in the first couple of laps. And I need to fix the ticker real quick. Sorry about that. Lap 4 out of 250. But yeah, in these 4 laps, Nick Gould has gone from about 3rd back to 6th. So maybe he's really saving his stuff. But after that poor start, it really held up the inside line. Adam DeFore has set back-to-back fastest laps of the race thus far. 14.976 and 14.932 respectively for car number 5. At least in the short runs, this car is very promising to be very fast. See further back through the field, going back to Ray Partridge. in that slick-looking number one car. Nicholas Presley not off to the start that we're used to seeing him. That's Justin Ray. Looks like he might have had a spin and had to go down pit road. No caution thrown. But I mentioned Jason Crumley with a new paint scheme. The Joker Haviline paint scheme looking very nice on car 28. Unfortunately, he did not get the start that he wanted to this race. Currently about 11 seconds behind the leader right now. But if he gets a caution, that gap will dissipate. Just hopefully he doesn't get lapped before then. Looking at Chris Chavez Essery in the number 20 car, trying to hunt down Brian Wiggins in car 15. Slowly working on the gap between the two of them. Essery running a little bit of a higher line on entry and cutting it down for exit speed. See Essery running about half a lane up on entry and through the center. But battle for 7th right now between Dylan Lansdell and Ray Partridge. As Lansdell almost gets in the wall, Partridge slips on by. Now Lansdell has to deal with Nicholas Presley in the 94 right behind him. Partridge going high in the center of the corner, getting a good run out of it. But battle for 2nd right now between Chris Chavez, Essery with a huge run out of turn 2. Peeks to the inside of Wiggins in turn 3. He's there, making the gap closer, dead even in turn 1 and 2. Down the backstretch, almost contact made between these drivers. Not a lot of real estate to go around here at Bristol. Kurgel waiting in the wings if this goes belly up. But Wiggins finally capitulates and lets Chavez Essery by. Nice move by Chavez Essery to dispatch Wiggins pretty quickly, even if it took a lap. And now Wiggins trying to maintain speed, but he's got a very fast Tony Kurgel right behind him as well, looking to capitalize on any slip-up that 15 car makes in front of him. Further back through the field, Justin Cope running way higher than a lot of other people are to get that run off the corner. And the caution is out. We're going to have to get a replay to see what brought it out. So let's get a replay going real quick to see what the caution is for. So looking at Justin Ray and car number 9 gets on the apron a little bit out of, I believe that's turn 4, and that car just snaps sideways. And yeah, just a self-spin and a little bit of a nudge to that inside wall. And he will tow it back to pit lane. So Justin Ray not having the night that he was hoping for. Because he spun earlier, had to go down pit road, got a black flag, and then finally gets it served, and then his handling issues still biting him. But just like that, it feels like the race just started. We're already 20 laps into this. It just goes to show how fast the laps tick by here at Bristol. But your top 5 at the moment: Adam DeFore, Chris Chavez, Essery, Brian Wiggins, Tony Kurgel, and Philip Chavez. All 5 of those drivers are looking very fast, but Adam DeFore seems to be the class of the field, at least in the earlier running of this race. He has the 2 fastest laps so far, Granted, that might change based on tires when everyone gets new tires, and the track will definitely be cooler since it'll be later in the day. The times will slow down just a little bit, or the times will quicken up is what I mean. But pace car lights are off, and it's going to be Adam DeFore coming to lap 22, leading this field to the first restart, getting all the way near the wall, making sure no one can pass him on the outside.
Green flag, green flag.
And green flag is out. Adam DeFore waited a really long time. Chris Chavez Esri got into the back of him on the restart there, thinking that he'd start rolling, but that was not the case. DeFore waited a pretty long time to get that 5 car going for the restart, but it looks like it didn't cause too many issues. So everything pretty calm for a Bristol restart here. As we look at Tony Kurgel in car number 13, currently in 4th right now, trying to gain ground on Brian Wiggins in car 15. I'm gonna find a good camera angle. Looks like this one's gonna be the best one. So thus far, Wiggins with a big, or not Wiggins, Kurgel with a big run out of 2, looking to the inside of Wiggins. Wiggins running up high to get that run off the corner. Kurgel still going to hold to the quarter panel of Wiggins, so Wiggins not able to clear Kurgel just yet. Oh, but big wiggle for Kurgel out of 2. That's going to bring Philip Chavez right up to his back bumper. So Chavez may be looking to pounce if Kurgel keeps sliding that rear end around. You see Ray Partridge working on Nick Gould for the 6th spot. He's going to be able to clear the 77, and that might invite Nicholas Pressey to the quarter panel of Nick Gould to try and get around him as well. Justin Cope looking to follow Gould through, or follow Partridge through, but it looks like that opportunity has closed itself as Nick Gould has brought himself back down to the inside line. Chavez still all over the back end of Tony Kurgel for the 4th spot. Definitely trying out different lines Philip Chavez is, and he's got a huge run down the front straight to the inside. It goes Chavez into turn 1. Kurgel's going to have the advantage on exit, maybe a little bit of contact between cars 14 and 13, but Philip Chavez looking very sharp here. And that 14 car, he's going to nose ahead at the line as they both race into turn 1. Chavez should be clear of Kurgel, and yes, he is. Kurgel did not get the run that he needed to make the crossover work. For 8th place, it's Justin Cope and Nicholas Pressey, both trying to get around Nick Gould. Cope with a huge lunge on the high side, going to get the move made around Gould. Pressey going to get around Gould as well. So Nick Gould all the way back to 9th from his starting spot of what I believe was 3rd place. But for the lead, we have Chris Chavez Esri trying to make a move on Adam DeFore for the first lead change of tonight's event so far. Coming to lap 34, DeFore did not get a good exit. And new leader Chris Chavez Esri, car number 20, on lap 34, unseats Adam DeFore from the lead. But DeFore's not going to give it up very easily. Both these cars have very fast times, and I think they're going to be locked to each other for a little bit, especially when tires fall off. Definitely something that we'll have to check back in. But Esri is seeming to pull away from DeFore for the time being. Justin Cope rolling that high side on entry and gaining a lot of speed on Ray Partridge through the center of the corner. You see, pulling alongside his outside right now. Huge run into turn 1 here, Justin Cope has, and he's going to make the move stick on Partridge. So many drivers running that bottom lane. Justin Cope running middle to the high side, and it looks like, at least for right now, it's paying off in spades as he's able to drive in a lot deeper as a big slide from Tony Kergel once again. This might allow Justin Cope to clear him, and he does. But when you're driving in that hard and the banking is that steep, it makes you wonder how much of a tire punisher is that strategy, because it certainly is fast, but once those tires fall off, how much faster will it be compared to people running the bottom and not putting as big of stress on their tires, as Cope is working on the outside of Philip Chavez. Cope gonna get around the 14, and will he try to get a 2-for-2 deal done here with Wiggins? 2 cars and 2 laps. He is really slicing through the field ever since he moved to the outside line. Cope gonna nose ahead of Wiggins at the line here. So Cope, it just seemed just a few laps ago he was back in 8th. Now he's up to 3rd just by slicing through this field. Ray Partridge looking to take an example from that 59 car. He's up to 6th and looking to try and use that outside line to his advantage. But Justin Cope now to the back end of Adam DeFore as they navigate Jason Crumley in the 28. Cope to the inside of DeFore for 2nd place. And that 59 car is flying right now. So up in a 2nd place goes Justin Cope, and he's about 1.5 seconds behind Chris Chavez Essery. As now Wiggins trying to get around Adam DeFore, so maybe DeFore used up his tires too quickly and is now paying the price. Wiggins able to get around DeFore, so DeFore starting to slide back a lot. Chavez able to get around as well. Partridge looking to the inside of that 5 car. Just nothing but sliding backwards here at Bristol from the lead for Adam DeFore. That's why tire management is so crucial here, because once you get stuck on the outside and you have worse tires, it is really a huge snowball effect that nobody wants to get caught in. Now DeFore looking to the inside of Partridge, but that hole had to close as Partridge was getting around Dylan Lansdell in that 24 car. Now Tony Kergel working on car 24, able to get around him, but Justin Cope has made up a lot of time to Chris Chavez Essery. That 59 car has really come alive in these past 20 laps or so, as he's working on that 20 car right in front of him for the lead here at Bristol. Essery running the middle, Cope daring to run higher. To the outside goes Cope, side by side entering turn 3. Chavez forced to the inside, Cope running all the way up top. That car is so well hooked up on the high line. New leader Justin Cope here in the Sharpie 500 on lap 52. Great drive through the field for that 59 car. And a battle for 3rd brewing right now, as Philip Chavez trying to make a pass on Brian Wiggins in car 15 for that 3rd spot. Looking to the inside out of 4 here, not going to be there just yet, but he's inching ever closer to that quarter panel of the 15. And right now, Justin Cope is really pulling away from Chris Chavez Essery. He just passed that 20 car, and he's already about 9/10 of a second ahead of that 20 car. Philip Chavez getting a good run out of 2. When does he try to make the move to get to the inside of Brian Wiggins? As, whoa, slow car, Justin Ray. Oh, geez, that's not what you want to see. Oh, Philip Chavez involved. Oh, Ray trying to get into pit lane also gets into Kurgel as well. Yeesh, you hate to see something like that happen. Let's get a replay to see if there's something that can be said about what happened with that 9 car. Because that was something. Yeah, Philip Chavez definitely not happy about that. I would not be too happy either. So looking at Justin Ray, he gets in the wall on in 1 and 2, and then trying to get back up to speed. He's just slow, and I don't think Philip Chavez expected Justin Ray to be there. And then Ray trying to get in a pit lane just knocks the right side off of Tony Kurgel like he wasn't even there. So now Tony Kurgel and Philip Chavez with lots of damage to their cars. These people are a lot more well composed than I am. I would not be happy at all if I had a lot of speed and something like that happened. It's also important to note that Justin Ray was, I believe, 15 laps down at the time that occurred, but brings out a caution, allows everyone to get a fresh set of Goodyear tires on their cars, and it's going to be Justin Cope who seems to have found a hidden turbo button in his car on fresh tires. Very interesting to see what kind of gap he will put on the rest of this field, if he's going to match the pace that he put up earlier in the last run to get from 8th to 1st. But pace car lights are out, and it's going to be Justin Cope leading the field to the second restart of the race here at Bristol. Justin Cope getting near the wall, not letting anyone by on the outside.
Green flag,
Justin Cope steps on the loud pedal, no wheel spin at all on those fresh tires, and Justin Cope off to a good start ahead of Chris Chavez Essery. Now we've seen how fast Adam DeFore is on the short runs. Certainly we'll have to see if he gets around Pressey and Wiggins at the start of this run right here. Laps 62 out of 250. And the caution is out. James Young is around. So let's get a replay to see what happened. What happened to car 69? James Young running that inside line, trying to hook it the yellow line, and clips the apron, and while throttling up, the car just gets spit sideways, and good avoidance by Crumley and Lansdowne not to run into each other. They're really close to each other, and I'm pretty sure Crumley hit the brakes a little bit. But no damage to any car involved, just a harmless spin. But it does bring out the third caution of the event here. Highly doubt anyone comes down pit road again unless they're doing it to get damage repaired. As we look at Tony Kurgel, yeah, that front end is very caved in. But luckily at Bristol, as long as the car, is pointed straight, aerodynamics is not a huge issue, because the straights are so short here. But Philip Chavez is still in pit lane. He's 7 laps down, still getting damage repaired. And you know he's got to be fuming, going from what seemed to be a battle for third all the way to being stuck in pit lane with what might be race-ending damage. But pace car lights are off, so going green this time. Bye. And once again, it's going to be Justin Cope leading the field to the restart after about a 3-lap run. So hopefully this one will go much longer. Everyone getting right up close to that outside wall. And pace car is in, waiting for Justin Cope to hit the gas. Green flag is out. A great start for Justin Cope. He pulls out to about a 0.3 of a second lead over Chris Chavez Esri as they thunder into turn 1. Nicholas Pressey all over the back end of Brian Wiggins, car number 15. And Adam DeFore showing a lot of that short run speed that he showed to get the pole and to pull away in the first 20 laps of this race. Ray Partridge slow in car 1. Something's up with that car. I think the right front suspension is killed on that. Yeah, he's having to pull into pit lane. So Ray Partridge, his race might be done. Might have hit the wall too hard or something. But the right front on that one car is certainly collapsed. Brian Wiggins just at the fastest lap of the race right now with a 14.917 in third as the lights have turned on here at Bristol at lap 70. Further in the back, James Young all over the back end of Tony Kurgel for the 9th position. Lansdell is about 3 laps down right behind them. So Lansdell, I don't know what got him to be 3 laps down, but he's going to need some good fortune to get back on the lead lap. Nick Gould and Angel Rodriguez doing battle for 7th spot right now. Gould in the 77, Rodriguez in the 18. Whoa, big loose moment for Rodriguez. That's going to allow Gould to get by and Tony Kurgel to invite himself into the party. He's going to try to get to the inside of Rodriguez. Whoa, maybe a little bit of contact between Kurgel and Rodriguez. Rodriguez got on the wall a little bit and Kurgel shot down the track. But both drivers keeping it straight. So more or less no harm, no foul. As further up front for the 3rd spot, Nicholas Pressey cutting into the gap that Brian Wiggins has over him. So Pressey hungry to make a move. And similarly hungry is going to be Chris Chavez Esri, car 20, looking to the inside of Justin Cope for the lead. He's going to try to make the move stick. Cope driving it hard on that outside like we saw him take the lead from Esri. But Esri really has, looks like he has the best short run car so far. That car is lightning quick off the gate. But we'll have to see as this run goes on how much his tires will compare to Justin Cope. Pressey's still working on the back end of Brian Wiggins. Slowly trying to work his way into a podium position. Great drive through the center for Pressey, trying to put as much pressure on that 15 car as possible. A little bit of a slide from Wiggins out of turn 4 as they get across the line. Pressey going to cut it down low to get a big run down the back straight. He's to the inside of Wiggins entering turn 3. But Wiggins going to use that center corner speed that the high line provides him to clear himself of that 94 car. But how long will this be sustainable for Brian Wiggins? As running a higher line means putting more wear on the tires compared to running the bottom. and Nicholas Pressey is looking mighty fast on that bottom side. So a fast car that's saving tires is a definite threat for overall pace here. A little bit of a wiggle from Pressey as he looks to the high side to mount a charge on Wiggins down the front straight as they cross the line here. Wiggins still holding strong against Pressey. Pressey really hasn't been able to get back to his inside. As Chris Chavez Esther has opened up about a 7/10 of a second gap over Justin Cope. Maybe Justin Cope trying to save his stuff once again and then wait for those tires to really fall off. But Pressey still trying to poke his nose to the inside of Wiggins. That 15 car does seem pretty free on exit compared to the 94, but Pressey just hasn't been able to use that to his advantage yet. Pressey certainly doing a good job of running a higher line to get a better drive off of the corner to cut it down. As we see Philip Chavez back out on track, 22 laps down. He's just looking to get some extra points via attrition, as he's on fresher tires than the 94 and 15. He's looking to make this battle for third a little bit more interesting. Chavez to the outside of Pressey, and he's going to try to get to the outside of Wiggins as well. But Justin Cope has caught back up to Chris Chavez Essery. Only about 0.2 of a second separate first and second place as they get around Jason Crumley. Cope diving it into that high line. So Cope really turning on the afterburners here in car 59 like we saw him do earlier in the race. And he's really closing that gap on car 20, 1.5 tenths between Cope and Chris Chavez Essery. Essery running that middle line. Cope going to take advantage of it. He's going to peak to the bottom, using those tires to his advantage to try and get the grip that he needs to sneak around Essery. Essery gets in the wall a little bit on exit. Cope pulling ahead in turn 2 for the lead here on lap number 93. So Justin Cope back in the lead. But don't count it out just yet, as Chris Chavez Essery is definitely not one to go down without a fight. But further in the back for third, Pressey has gone alongside Wiggins just for a corner, but he's definitely gotten closer to Wiggins than before. Wiggins not making Pressey's life very easy. He's really making that 94 car work for third place. But Pressey is going to have a huge run down the back straightaway here to the inside of Wiggins. Needs to use any grip that he can get to pull up alongside in center. Not going to be able to make it happen. Pressey doing a great job of defending third place. And sometimes that's all you got to do, is just get on the throttle before the other person. And of course, Pressey might be using up more tires since he was actively running a higher line to try and build up a run on car 15. But the closest battle on track right now is between it's actually just became Pressey and Wiggins. I was going to go to Adam DeFore versus Nick Gould, but that got slowed up by the slow lap car of Jason Crumley in car 28. Now you see Wiggins running a very high line in 1 and 2. Maybe he doesn't have the grip that he has on the bottom and now is trying to use that middle lane to his advantage, working out for him right now as he's pulling out to about a 4/10 of a second gap over car 94. Meanwhile, Justin Cope has pulled out his lead to 2 seconds and counting as he's coming up on the back end of James Young. The only car setting similar lap times to Justin Cope is Philip Chavez, who's running about a 10th faster, but he's also 22 laps down and on 22 lap fresher tires. So that 14 car definitely fast, but misfortune has really turned his race into ruin. Pressey now sliding back a lot as caution is out. Don't know who it is for. It's not James Young. I believe it might be Chris Norris. As yes, that car is all sorts of banged up. So let's get a replay going to see what happened to that 56 car. So looking at Chris Norris, he's letting Justin Cope by, hits the outside wall, almost gets into Chavez Essery, and then James Young kind of just was not expecting Norris to be that slow and just gets into the back of Norris, and that's going to bring out the caution. But everyone on pit lane right now. See who gets off of pit lane first. Yes, Cope able to beat everyone off of pit road. Essery comes out in second. Pressey still not able to get ahead of Wiggins even on pit road. I haven't talked about him at all this race. Mark Sakoshi able to get up into the 5th position for car number 8. So 107 laps in the book right now. Still got over half this race to go. But definitely the car to beat right now is that 59 car, because he worked his way through the field and then it just seems like about 10 laps into the run, that car just finds a hidden gear that everyone else cannot find, and he just starts pulling away by multiple tenths. So pace car lights are off. So Justin Cope leading us back to the green flag once again here at Bristol, coming to lap 109. Green flag is out, and Justin Cope with a great start. Chris Chavez Essery had to start behind the lapped car of Jason Crumley, and that really put him behind the 8 ball, as Nicholas Pressey able to get to the outside of Brian Wiggins. And Pressey going to be able to use Crumley as a pick. Oh, contact between Crumley and Wiggins. Oh, Pressey involved as well. Oh, huge contact. Oh, my goodness gracious. Nick Gould goes upside down in turn 2. That car is flipping. Holy cow. Oh, geez. That just took out a good chunk of the competitive field as Nick Gould is stuck on his roof. Chaos as we approach the the halfway mark, and I went to stand by for just a second. We saw Chris Chavez Essery try to give Nick Gould a friendly nudge to get him flipped back over. Unfortunately, only got him stuck on his side. But let's get a replay to see what happened, because this really turned to hell in a handbasket really quick. So they're navigating the 28 of Crumley. Crumley's going up high, not expecting Pressey to be that close to him. A little bit of contact. Pressey shoots down the track. So both these drivers, very out of control. And then we're gonna have to see what happened between Nick Gould and what happened with Nick Gould. So coming out of turn 4, gets loose, hits the wall, comes down, and then as the wreck is going on, trying to slow down for it, and then just accidentally hooks Angel Rodriguez, and then Justin Ray plows into the wreck, and with Dylan into the back of Dylan Lansdell. Gould got a little bit of help from Kurgel, but it definitely did not help that 9 car came barreling in. And then we see Nick Gould up and over on his roof, and waiting for that 20 car. You can see Chris Chavez Essery coming out to give him a friendly nudge without trying to give himself too much damage. That only gets that 77 stuck on his side. So that's most likely going to be the end of the day for Nick Gould. I can't really foresee a situation in which that 77 car gets back out on track, but a huge wreck on lap, I believe that was 111. Took out quite a number of cars, as now everyone up to 6th is lapped. So 10 out of the 16 cars are a lap down here, as Justin Cope able to not see any of that. That all happened in his mirror. But pace car is in. He's going to be leading the field back to the green flag after a massive accident in turn 1 on the restart.
Green.
Cope off to a decent start. Chris Chavez Essery got a better start, but not able to pull up alongside that 59 car just yet. Added him to 4. Back in 4th right now behind Mark Sikoshi. And with a big run to the back of that 8 car, might try to make something happen on that inside line. Or rather, he's going to look to the outside with Sikoshi. But Sikoshi able to fend off that very fast 5 car right now. With a lot less cars on the lead lap, racing is a lot more spread out. See Nicholas Pressey able to keep going despite his accident. He's currently in 6th, about half a second behind Tony Kurgel. But for the lead, Chris Chavez Essery is really pushing to try to get around that 59 car of Justin Cope. Cope not that great on the short run compared to Essery, but it seems like once those tires start wearing in, the car just takes flight. So Essery hoping to get around that 59 car and keep him at bay before that happens. We're very quickly approaching the halfway mark here, as Chris Chavez Essery trying to make something happen on that 59 car, but still nothing materializing for him just yet. But a big run out of Ford right to the back end of Cope. So Essery definitely showing some speed. Cope gets really loose in the center of the corner. Here comes Chris Chavez Essery to the inside. Cope not going to put up much of a fight, as he had to gather that car from getting really loose in the center of the corner. So back to the lead goes Chris Chavez Essery right around the halfway point. Lap 124 out of 250. That's Angel Rodriguez sliding to the inside. No caution since it was off the racing surface. And now Chris Chavez Essery doing his best to pull away from Justin Cope. Just hitting halfway right now. 125 laps to go here at Bristol. And Justin Cope still hanging on to the back of Chris Chavez Essery for the lead, still letting him know that he is there, and he's really sending it into the corner. I want to get a roll bar shot of that 59 car when he's really sending it in on the back end of Essery. So both these drivers running about the middle line in 1 and 2. Justin Cope running higher in 3 and 4. And the distance between these two drivers is about 2/10 right now. As you can see, just the different advantages that the different lines gives you. You can see running that far inside, you gain a lot on entry, but through the center, it is not comparable to drivers who are running the middle or higher lines. Let's go back to the TV camera. But now Justin Cope all over the back end of Chris Chavez Essery. Does he try to make a bold move to the outside of that 20 car just yet? Elects not to. But he is definitely reeling in that 20 car. And someone who is also running very fast laps is that number 8 of Mark Sikochi. Reeling in both of these drivers in third. But Essery doing a good job keeping Justin Cope at bay for the time being. Essery really finding his groove as the track temperature has cooled down. And to the outside, Justin Cope has a look. Essery comes up to block. So Cope really starting to put up a charge on that 20 car for the lead. Gets in the wall on exit, but it doesn't hurt his momentum too much. Closes right back up to that 20 car. Car 59 is really pushing to get the move made on Chris Chavez Essery. Peeks to the inside of that 20 car. Contact almost made between the 50 and 29, but they keep it straight here. As a little bit of a nudge from the back end of Justin Cope, telling Essery to hurry it up, or else he's gonna pass him. Maybe a little bit of mind games on behalf of car 59 as he's looking to the outside. Maybe a crossover, not going to happen down the back straight here, but he's going to dive to the inside of Essery in 3 and 4. Essery's going to have the better drive through the center out of 4, going to be able to keep that spot, but Cope is not going to give up just yet, pulling up to his door on the inside of 1 and 2, but Essery going to have the drive off the corner. Cope still going at it dead even at the exit of 4, maybe a little bit of fender rubbing, and that's going to get the advantage to Cope as he pulls the slider on Essery. Essery going to cut it back down to jump to the inside of Cope. Cope running all the way up near the wall, right below all the marbles, and going to be able to get the move made and keep that position. So Justin Cope with a nice move back to the lead, but he had to get out a lot of the gas to avoid hitting the wall. But yep, that's a typical Bristol battle where you really have to work over the car in front. And it's like a game of high-speed chess, really, trying to navigate around other cars. Nicholas Pressey and Tony Kurgel doing battle as they have to navigate the lapped car of Philip Chavez, who's poking to the inside of Pressey. Pressey going all the way near the wall. Looks like he might have gone on the marbles a little bit, and that car got really tight. But Tony Kurgel doing a good job recovering from his damage that he got with Justin Ray. Able to bring himself up to 5th right now. So a top 5 for a driver in the chase, especially considering that a couple other drivers that were in the chase, like Brian Wiggins and Nicholas Pressey, got in an accident. Definitely helping out his case. But looking back at Mark Sakoshi and the 8 car, trying to get around Jason Crumley as Crumley hits the wall hard. Hopefully that didn't knock the right front out of that car. I don't think it has. That car does not look like it's all too speedy. So it might have some toe damage, but Pressey has gone back around Tony Kurgel for the 5th position. But now the racing has really spread out as cars in various differing body conditions trying to navigate each other. And you see Wiggins with a lot of damage on that right side and on the left rear. Running slower than the leaders, but running faster than the cars in 5th and 6th. Of course, if a caution were to come out, Wiggins would theoretically be the lucky dog, assuming that he doesn't get in the accident. So Wiggins hoping and praying for a caution for both repairs and to get him back on the lead lap so he can contend for some points. But he's definitely putting some pressure on Nicholas Pressey, saying, hey, if we get another caution, I'm gonna do this to you, but it's gonna be for position. Pressey running up high to let Wiggins by, and Wiggins gonna get the move made. Justin Cope has pulled out to about a 1.3 second lead over Chris Chavez Esri with under 100 laps to go here at Bristol. They're really quickly approaching the cars on the tail end of the lead lap, and that's bad news for Brian Wiggins, because if they catch up to if Cope catches up to Kurgel and Pressey, he's not going to be on the lucky dog anymore, and that's something that he obviously does not want to have happen to him. But he also doesn't want to get passed by that 59 car as well, because if he does, they'll put him 2 laps down, and that makes his job to get back on the lead lap all that much harder. But Justin Cope really sending it on the outside here, getting around side Kurgel. So now Kurgel, first car 1 lap down. And so now anyone past 5th place is a lap down with how fast Justin Cope is going. Right now, he's the only car on track on this set of tires that is setting times in the 15-second bracket. Everyone else is setting times of 16 seconds or slower. So Justin Cope really has a great medium and long run car, it seems. Because, yeah, he's pulled out to a 2.5 second gap, and now he's lapping Pressey. Lapping about 2.5 tenths faster than the car in second, Justin Cope is. And now there really isn't any that much battling for position right now. Closest cars to each other for position are about 2.5 seconds or more apart from each other. So this is a great great opportunity for Justin Cope to both extend his lead, get more cars lapped, and to wind down this race very quickly. I believe that they still have one more pit stop to make for fuel. But not much happening right now as we get to the spot in Bristol races where we have the long green flag run, and soon we might be seeing Justin Cope lapping all the way up to Adam DeFore, so only 3 cars will be on the lead lap, because Adam DeFore about 11 seconds behind Justin Cope right now, and each lap taking about 15 to 16 seconds here. As Wiggins gets lapped for the second time by Cope, so that essentially locks any chance at the lucky dog for him away. And it's hard to believe just how fast that 59 car is. 15.727 last time by, and a 15.366 for Chris Chavez Essery. Brian Wiggins dives into pit road on lap 166. So he's going to go a couple of laps down doing so. As you can see, Adam DeFore jumping into pit lane as well. So maybe scheduled stops to get drivers to the end are happening right about now. Tony Kurgel in pit lane also. Question is, when does Chris Chavez Essery and Mark Sikoshi decide to hop into pit lane? Because now we, with DeFore going into pit lane, and there are only 3 cars on the lead lap: Justin Cope, Chris Chavez Essery, and Mark Sikoshi. And Cope has just set his first 16-second lap time by himself, so the tire's definitely starting to fall off on that 59 car. But he's already up to about a 7-second gap that it's not really going to hurt him too bad to not going to really hurt him too bad to have a little bit of tire fall off. Heck, I wouldn't be surprised if by the end of this, Cope catches up to the back of Mark Sikoshi by the end of this race. If this goes green to the end, Adam DeFore getting one of his laps back.
Caution,
As the caution has come out. So this is terrible news for someone like Adam DeFore. Tony Kurgel and Brian Wiggins, who went multiple laps down because they had a pit. And we don't even know what it's for. So let's get a replay to see what brought out the caution here to break up this nice green flag run that seemed to be heading towards green flag pit stops. So looking at Angel Rodriguez in the 29, it looks like Chris Chavez Essery is right in front of him. And I think Chris Chavez Essery was trying to get into pit road, and Angel Rodriguez just did not get the memo. And Rodriguez looks like he actually got disqualified, and ooh, bad net code for Pressy off of that. That knocks his front bumper off. And oh, Ooh, that's really close between Chavez Essery and Chris Chavez Essery and James Young. But honestly, a very smart move by Chris Chavez Essery to see the caution come out and not go into pit lane. Almost gets hit by James Young, but if he went down pit lane, that would have been a black flag for him. So smart move by Chris Chavez Essery and Justin Cope. That big lead that he had has now dissolved into nothing. But I believe I don't know if Nicholas Pressey's gonna get the lucky dog, since iRacing might count him as involved in that wreck. I think the car that would get the lucky dog would probably be Tony Kurgel. But pace car lights are out with 70 laps to go. Justin Cope once again leading this field. Only 3 cars on the lead lap right now. Justin Cope, Chris Chavez, Essery, and Mark Sakoshi. Only cars left on the lead lap after that long green flag run. Pace car is in, and Justin Cope still has some work ahead of him as he steps on the gas. Gets a great start over Chris Chavez Essery. But like I said, there is still work to be done for the 59 car. He can't ride off into the sunset just yet due to that caution. So Justin Cope off to a good start here and already pulling out to about a 4/10 of a second gap over Chris Chavez Essery. And once these tires wear in, expect that 59 car to really start flying. But kudos to a lot of the field. It looks like I believe 12 out of the 16 cars registered for this are still soldiering on, despite being varying degrees of laps down. So the drive to finish this race definitely still there. Now Nicholas Pressey is really hoping for a caution at any moment, because he's essentially driving a Featherlight modified right there with no front end on that car. Certainly going to help him in the cooling department. I don't know about handling and aerodynamics are concerned, but he would really appreciate a caution right now to get the lucky dog spot and maybe get that front clip back on his car. But as the crow flies right now, it is he's gonna need a lot of luck, and everyone's very spread out in terms of positioning right now. So Justin Cope with a 4/10 of a second gap over second place Chris Chavez Essery. Essery with a big run down the back straightaway, cut that gap to about 0.2 of a second. And Essery still hanging on to the back end of Cope. Cope not super tire saving at the moment, because he's still running about a half a lane off the bottom, and not just trying to paint that yellow line like we've seen him do early on in the run. Chavez Essery really getting great drives out of the corner despite running all the way on the bottom. So yes, but yes, I was correct earlier when I said that only 4 cars out of the 16 that registered have retired from the session so far. Everyone else is still driving. Or, I mean, well, only 3 cars if you count Ray Partridge, who is currently stuck in pit lane with a black flag for well over 40 minutes. But only Angel Rodriguez, Dylan Lansdell, and Justin Ray have retired from the session so far, as Justin Cope catching lap traffic in the form of James Young. Whoa, he was not expecting James Young to be that slow on exit. That allows Chavez Essery to get right to the back bumper of Justin Cope. And Chavez Essery, hungry to make a move, going to try to use that outside line to charge in and then cut back down for maximum speed, but has not paid off for him just yet. Cope a little bit squirrely on exit. That car still not completely obeying his commands, but he's definitely doing a good job of wrangling all the speed that he can out of it here. Coming to 53 laps to go for the lead here. Mark Sikoshi about 1.8 seconds behind these 2 drivers. So unless these 2 tangle together, it looks like he might not be that big of a factor for the win. Back in 5th and 6th, it's Adam DeFore and Tony Kurgel waging battle against each other. Kurgel has gotten most of the damage repaired on that front end. DeFore trying to use the tires to his advantage to get grip on that inside line. It's going to pay off. He's going to move ahead of Kurgel for the 5th spot. So, nice move by DeFore to get around Tony Kurgel for a crucial amount of points. That will be very necessary in the chase standings. Chris Chavez Essery still hanging on to the back end of Cope. Maybe he made an adjustment in pit lane to make that car rotate a little better, because we've been seeing that car turn really nicely on exit and allow him to stay in touch with that 59 car. Only about 0.3 of a second separating these drivers on 20 lap old tires. Of course, that might change as the race goes on, because as the track being cooler since it's nighttime here at Bristol, is going to be less wear on the tires and more grip. But Cope runs really high, and oh no! Crumley gets into the back end of Chavez Essery. Essery nudges the inside wall. No damage to that 20 car, thankfully. But that's going to really put him behind the 8 ball, because that allows Mark Sikochi to scoot on past. So let's get a replay of that real quick to see what exactly happened. I mean, we saw it happen. We saw it unfold, but let's get a slow-mo shot of it. So looking at Chris Chavez Essery, and he's trying to get around Jason Crumley because Justin Cope overshot the corner, and I think that he got off the gas a little bit, not wanting to run into Justin Cope. Jason Crumley gets tight and just barely taps the back end of Essery, sending Essery around. But Essery going into pit lane to get new tires on that 20 car. Justin Cope and Mark Sikoshi also getting into it as well. This might be brilliant by Chris Chavez Essery. Pitting early might have gotten him to the lead here, because Cope has to get into pit lane. Chris Chavez Essery pitted 1 lap before. Very smart move by Chris Chavez Essery to use the pitting to his advantage. So after getting tapped by Jason Crumley, he pit 1 lap ahead of Sikoshi and Cope, and is now back on, or not back on, is now back in the lead with fresh tires to boot, because the only lap stays on this set of tires is under caution. So yes, it looks like Justin Cope going to be starting behind Chris Chavez-Essery as the cars getting their wave around get sorted out. Nicholas Pressey back on the lead lap, still doesn't have a front end, but now Tony Kurgel in the lucky dog seat. Chris Chavez-Essery with 42 laps to go. A little bit of contact from Cope to the back end of Essery.
Green flag, green flag, green flag.
Cope all over the back end of Essery as they get rolling to green. I'm sure that Cope's not too happy about being jumped on pit lane from someone who pit a lap before him. Chavez-Essery all sorts sideways into the wall. Goes Chavez-Essery. He's trying to keep it corralled. That car goes down right in front of Wiggins and Chavez and James Young. Caution gets thrown, and Chris Chavez-Essery's race goes up in smoke after what seemed to be a brilliant pit strategy to get himself back to the lead. Has just disappeared in front of him. I don't really know what happened with him. The car just broke loose. Taking a second look at it, you can see that, you know, he's correcting that car in the center of the corner, and the car just is doing its best to step out, and he's trying to get it off the wall, and he just plows the wall, and then he bounces off of the wall, and then he's trying to get that car crowd. Brian Wiggins trying to get that car out of the way, and then just nowhere for him to go. Same thing with Philip Chavez, who's just had a rotten race so far of things out of his control because he has to slow up for Wiggins. And then James Young also nowhere to go since he was right behind Chavez, gets into the back of him. And that front end is hanging on by a thread on that 15 car. Very banged up Napa Auto Parts Chevy for Justin Cope, as Chris Chavez-Essery immediately retired from the race after that. And Justin Cope is probably smiling from ear to ear because that was really his biggest opponent, was Chris Chavez-Essery. And now that he's out of the picture, Mark Sikoshi, he's shown speed, but he hasn't shown getting past Justin Cope levels of speed. And Nicholas Pressey, without his front end, is looking for a podium position, as I believe looks like Tony Kurgel did not get the lucky dog for that, so he's gonna need a caution to come out and need to be ahead of Adam DeFore in the 5 car if he wants the lucky dog to be in contention. So there's a very real chance that a car that we interview finishes without a front end. But pace car lights are off. Justin Cope leading the field to yet another restart here at Bristol. Green flag is out, and Justin Cope gets a huge start over Mark Sikoshi, already to about half a second gap over car 8. I'm sure Sikoshi will be more than happy to just ride this race out. because the car behind him for position doesn't have a front end and is all sorts of banged up. See Adam DeFord trying to navigate his way around Jason Crumley. Bressy going to try to do the same, but he definitely lacks a little bit of straight line speed with that missing front end. I never said that having a front end would kill, not having a front end would kill your race, but it certainly causes a little bit of a detriment to where, towards the end of the straight where you're hitting your top speed. But Justin Cope coming to 30 laps to go out of turns 3 and 4 right now. Has about an 0.8 of a second gap over Mark Sikoshi with 30 laps to go. And I'm sure that the last thing Justin Cope wants to see is any cautions to come out. And I'm pretty sure that he would just like this race to be over with. But for the 4th spot, and more importantly for the lucky dog spot, should a caution come out, Adam DeFore has really caught up to the back of Tony Kurgel. Cars 5 and 13, and Kurgel just lets DeFore by. I don't think that 13 car has been handling all that well all night. As I'm hearing a lot of crashing in the back, and that's Brian Wiggins. Brian Wiggins stopped again. So let's see what happened to the 15 this time. So Brian Wiggins trying to battle with Nicholas Presley, gets a little bit too much on the gas, and that car just snaps on him. He tries to save it, but not enough real estate to save it. And huge hit for Jason Crumley right into the door of Wiggins. And then I believe that's Chris Norris now has one less working wheel on that 56 car. Yeah, that right front is kind of useless now. And he's trying his best to get it into pit lane. That might be the end of the race for Chris Norris. But now Adam DeFore, after passing Tony Kurgel, has gotten himself back on the lead lap. And Nicholas Presley currently in pit lane trying to get that damage repaired. Still doesn't have a front end. That car is not as banged up as it was. Justin Cope and Mark Sikochi probably having the cleanest cars of the entire race. I don't think either of them have been in any instance. Can't say the same for pretty much everyone else in the field. In some form, they have been in an incident. And that is Nick Gould in car 77 back out on track. 43 laps down after being flipped over in a huge accident right before halfway. So if that's not perseverance, I don't know what is. As I think he might be able to get up to 7th. If might be able to get to 7th or 8th from 11th. So he still some spots on the table for car 77 to gain just by finishing this race. But your top 5 right now is Justin Cope, Mark Sikochi, Nicholas Presley, Adam DeFore, and Tony Kurgel. Of course, Tony Kurgel 1 lap down. Adam DeFore got the lucky dog, so he's all the way at the tail end of the field. Pace car is in. Justin Cope coming to the restart with 24 laps to go. Sikochi gets a good start, but how much is that going to help him in the grand scheme of things, knowing that Justin Cope is quite a bit faster? Sikochi definitely going to try and give Justin Cope a run for his money with 23 laps to go. But Cope has something under the hood of that Ford Performance number 59. As he's now starting to stretch out the gap between him and Sikoshi. Going back to Adam DeFore, closing up on the back end of Nicholas Pressey. As Justin Cope just at the fastest lap of the race, a 14.870 with 20 laps to go. So DeFore all over the back end of Kurgel, trying to close in on Pressey for that third spot here. As I'm sure Tony Kurgel might like a yellow flag to come out, as you see Nick Gould getting around Jason Crumley, who doesn't have a front end, and Adam DeFore trying to find a way around that 94 car. But not a lot of real estate to go around as Pressey looks to the inside of Nick Gould. DeFore almost getting into the back of Pressey right there. Side by side, Pressey and Gould not for position, but this is definitely probably pretty frustrating to Adam DeFore since they seem pretty equally matched on pace. But Gould gets really high up into the wall. That's going to allow DeFore to have some one-on-one time with Pressey to try and get around him. DeFore sneaking to the inside of Pressey for the third spot, using that grip to his advantage. But Pressey not going to try to give up so easily. He's going to hit the outside wall on exit. So now it moved DeFore up into the third position. And now he's starting to work on pulling away from that 94 car. But with 13 laps to go, it is all Justin Cope. Currently has about a 1.3 second gap over Mark Sikoshi. And is quickly adding onto that gap. Everyone really spread out now. As we can do a quick little run through the field. Justin Cope in first. Mark Sikochi in second. Adam DeFore back in third. Nicholas Pressey without his front end in car number 94 in fourth. Tony Kurgel, first car one lap down. Car just has not seemed to be on his side all night, in fifth. Brian Wiggins without a front end and damage all over that car. Been numerous accidents. Back in sixth. Jason Crumley without a front end. Car 28 in seventh. 20 laps down. One lap behind him is Philip Chavez, car 14. And then it's the retired car of Chris Chavez Essery and then Nick Gould doing laps. And he's the car furthest down the standings right now, still running. Currently in 10th, so he's locked into a top 10 no matter what. But he has 9 laps to get past Chris Chavez Essery, but we only have 7 laps to go. Now 6, thanks to Justin Cope coming across the start-finish line. Going to draw this race to a close, coming to the big 5 laps to go. Let's get an onboard shot with Justin Cope for a couple of these last few laps. A very composed race car. Car number 59. 2 laps to go for Justin Cope to bring it home. He wants to see the white flag to seal this race away. He's got 3 seconds on Sakoshi behind him. White flag in the air for Justin Cope, car 59, starting all the way back in, I believe, 8th place. And driving his way through the field, showing that he was the car to beat. Despite other cars qualifying ahead of him, coming out of turn 4, Justin Cope comes home to win the Sharpie 500 here in the National Sim Racing Series, as the fireworks go off here in Bristol, Tennessee, for a very well-deserved win for Justin Cope to cap off a chaotic race here after 250 laps. Let's get your finishing results up on the screen really quick. Winning this race is Justin Cope, and in second, a very quiet second, is Mark Sakoshi in car number 8. Didn't really do anything and didn't really get involved in any accidents, and that rewarded him with a second place finish. Adam DeFore claws his way back up to third, so that will be your podium finishers and those who will get an interview: Cope, Sakoshi, and DeFore. In fourth, it's Nicholas Pressey finishing with that at front end. Then Tony Kurgel, a very solid top 5 considering all of the tribulations that he went through during the race. Brian Wiggins comes home in 6th, first car outside of the top 5, 9 laps down. Then it is Jason Crumley in 7th in car 28, 21 laps down. Then Philip Chavez in 8th, right behind him. Chris Chavez Essery, after being in 2nd for most of the race, retired from this race in 9th, and that will be the first that's the first retirement. And then it is Nick Gould, last of the running cars here. And then outside of the top 10, everyone here has retired from this event. James Young, Chris Norris, Andrew Rodriguez, Dylan Lansdell, Ray Partridge, and Justin Ray rounding out your field of 16 finishers here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Don't go anywhere. We still have interviews to do here for your top 3 finishers. Please stand by. Okay, welcome back to the National Sim Racing Sharpie 500. Coming home victorious, it's going to be Justin Cope to start off interviews. Let's get him into the booth. Coming home in first, it's Justin Cope, car number 59. Really carved his way through the field. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you, man.
So what happened in qualifying? Because it seems like a car this good throughout the race should be qualifying, on pole by like a 10th, because it seems like you were the man this race. So did you just not have a good qualifying lap? Because I know that you started, I believe like 8th or so. So you had to really work your way up through the field to get to the front.
Yeah, I know on my first lap I got too loose and I put it in the wall, so I sort of slowed my second lap down and it just threw everything off. But really, I mean, the longer run benefited me. The shorter runs were not really my strong suit. I know Chris He was quick on the shorter run, and my car really didn't come in about 15 to 20 laps into the run, and it was a different animal.
We were seeing Chris really challenge for the lead and even pass you a couple times on those short runs. Were you at all worrying that towards the end of the race we would get, more cautions and that would benefit Chris more since he was a lot better on the short runs, at least up until he got in that accident where, he spun and hit the inside wall?
Yeah, I was hoping it was going to go green, just for the less amount of cautions. I mean, I was having fun, on the longer runs, just passing people. I mean, it's not every day your car's like that. So I mean, when it is, it's just it's satisfying knowing you put that out there. But yeah, as far as racing Chris, yeah, he was really fast on the short runs. The only thing that would have benefited me is if we were both on older tires on the short runs, maybe that would have helped me out. But there's also the chance that uh, harder racing and everybody being too loose, and might get in a wreck myself. So I feel like it played out pretty good.
Yeah, I would say so as well because there were times where we were 7 seconds ahead of second place. So before we let you go and celebrate your win even further, do you have any people or sponsors you want to thank before we let you go?
Yeah, just appreciate all the guys showing up. Appreciate you doing the broadcast, and hopefully we'll keep it going strong in the next season.
Hope so as well. Well, that's Justin Cope coming home a very strong first place here at Bristol. We'll see you around, brother.
All right, man. Have a good one. Bye.
All right, coming home in second is going to be Mark Sakoshi here. Let's get him into the booth and on screen. Mark Sakoshi coming home second place. You got a copy?
I got you.
All things considered, in a very chaotic race, you had a very quiet run. Truthfully, I really didn't speak about you a lot during the broadcast because you were just running your own race, and it seems like it paid off in spades. I mean, I don't see a scratch on your car right now, and you came home second. So was your strategy for this race pretty much just survival?
For the majority, yeah. I mean, anytime you're towards the front, if you can get the car a little better and go after it, I mean, you want to. But we were kind of on the edge as far as with the balance. We didn't really want to mess around with it too much. We made some improvements, got a little bit better for the second half, but it just didn't have enough. We were kind of, like I said, we were real close to being a little too free, and we're trying to get more rear grip in it at the same time. And at that point, we kind of had what we had. We didn't want to mess around with it too much because we know what's on the line, and we just wanted to gain some points on Pressy and Tony in the championship standing. So, yeah, that was the goal. Yeah, we talked about it too. That was part of the reason I think we finished where we did, just staying out of the chaos.
And I tell you what, it rewarded you and your goals very well. And speaking of the championship, next week it's the last race of the season at Homestead. What are your thoughts as, you're one of the league admins? What are your thoughts on the point situation going into Homestead?
It's gonna be tight. Uh, I'm not sure how we're gonna do there. We've been okay on the mile and a halves. Long runs we've been pretty good. I don't know. Last time we were there with the old car, and we ran okay. We were set up for the top, but the bottom ended up coming in, which was weird. Don't really know what to expect. We haven't turned any laps there yet. Um, just hoping we can get enough bonus points, and I mean that Darlington win there, giving that one back. That if we end up winning, if we end up finishing within 4 points from first, I mean it's gonna hurt. It's gonna sting a little bit, but hopefully we can get enough points here at Homestead.
Yeah, so before we let you go to start working on that Homestead car to produce something bad fast as a championship contender, do you have any people or sponsors you want to thank before we let you go?
Yeah, we got to thank all of our viewers. We got to thank all of our drivers showing up every week. We got to thank Lyle for doing race control. We got to thank John Bittler at IRD for supporting the league. I think that's it.
All right, so Mark Sakoshi, a big week ahead of him as the championship looms near, coming home a very strong second place to help his case for the championship. We will see you next week at Homestead.
All right, we'll see you there. Thanks, Garrett.
All right, and now finishing in third, he's had a very up and down race. It's going to be Adam DeFore. Coming home third, it's Adam DeFore. You got a copy?
Yeah, man, I got you.
So you had a lot of speed in qualifying, come out on pole, a great start to your race, and then it just seemed to fall apart. What happened from your POV? Because you seem to have rapid speed for about the first 20 laps, and you really fell into the hornet's nest. But very fortunate to come out with a podium.
Really, it was just tire wear. Honestly, I could run really fast, or it felt like 25, 30 laps, and then it's just here everybody else came. I started the race and had a second and a half lead in like 10 laps, and I was like, ah, man, this ain't good. I said those guys need to be a lot closer to me, but I don't know. It is what it is. I got lucky and stayed out of a bunch of trouble. Ended up third, so it wasn't too bad.
I think with all the chaos that went on, surviving and coming home top three is not too bad at all. So you mentioned Tyler. Did you try to make any like pit stop adjustments as the race went on? Because the Lord knows we had enough cautions to allow for that to happen. So did you make any like pit stop adjustments to try and maybe get the car more rotating so that it doesn't put as much wear on the right front?
Yeah, I did do a little wedge adjustment on the right rear, and it seemed to help it some, but it just made it more loose coming up out of the turn. So doing that, I said, well, I'll try it on the next pit stop if we get one, and ended up putting a couple more pounds of air in the right front. That seemed to help it out some too.
Well, either way, it paid off in a very solid third place here. So before we let you go and ride this good momentum into the season finale at Homestead, do you have any people or sponsors you want to thank?
Oh yeah, I want to thank Angel Rodriguez and Tier 1 Setup Shop. They put out a pretty good setup on this car.
All right, short and sweet from Adam DeFore, coming home a strong third place finish after 250 laps here at Bristol. We will see you next week at Homestead.
All right, man. Sounds good.
All right, and now with that out of the picture, I can conclude this broadcast. Let me set the camera to scenic real quick. And man, what a beautiful racetrack. Thank you for watching the NSR Bristol 500 here on Fireball Talks NASCAR. Chaotic race, but lots of fun to watch. Thank you for watching. Big thank you to SKS Graphics and Andrew Schulte for their help with the ticker. Big thank you to our series sponsor, IRD Racing, the king of carburetors. Big thank you to David and Fireball Talks NASCAR for allowing me the chance to broadcast this and have a lot of fun doing it. And big thanks to you once again for watching. My name is Garrett Hess. You're watching Fireball Talks NASCAR, and next week will be the season finale of the NSR Cup Series at Homestead, where we watch a tight battle between Tony Kurgel, Nicholas Pressey, and Mark Sakoshi come to a head at the multi-groove track, mile-and-a-half track of Homestead Miami Speedway. I'm looking forward to it. I hope you'll be looking forward to it. Same time next Saturday. Be there for a